You're watching a video about pros and cons for starting a career in Web3 sales. At the end of this video, you will immediately understand, have a very clear yes or no if you want to follow this path and have a career in this exciting industry or not exciting industry. This is the first part of the course from Web3 sales from amateur to mastery when we are kicking it out in the Web3 sales gym. Let's go. So, the pros. The pros are very easy. They're getting you very high. And starting with the first pro, which is money. Money is super important in Web3 sales. Everybody who's going into sales, they go there primarily for money, because everybody knows if you are a very good performer in sales, then you don't have any problems in life. Everything is paid up. And these are just examples of salaries that people get in developed world. And sales are very good because you can move whenever you want. If you know how to sell, you're fed for life. They will pay you to move to any country. You can easily get everything sorted out. So salary, money, OTE, having impact over what you're making in sales is one of the most things that you possibly want and need. Then the second thing is the barriers to enter. It's very easy to enter sales, especially in Web3. You don't need to anything. For some sales, they require a bachelor's degree in any industry or in any area. In Web3 sales, sometimes that's not important. What's important is your experience or your eagerness to learn. For example, the course, for your course for getting into Web3 sales might be the video that you're watching right now. This is your diploma. This is your degree. There is no need to spend 7 years in medical school just for getting an entry-level job in the medicals. In sales, you can start right now. You can start today. You can start working for free, acquiring experience, and then in 1 year, 2 years, you're gonna be making these numbers, right? This is real. This is true. Then what's next is the industry is new. Whether you're just starting out fresh, you never worked before, or you're just basically looking at other industries, what's better, or maybe there is another opportunities. Web3 is very, very fresh, very, very new, and it's growing. Some industries are dying. If you're a young person, ideally you want to be in the young industry that's going to be developing together with you. Because if you're a young guy and you're coming to a new industry, or young girl, doesn't matter, and you're coming to the industry that is dying and that is old, it's going to be very hard and frustrating for you to find a place where your enthusiasm going to be worth, where people will notify you because you're enthusiastic, because you're trying to get more. In Web3, it's all over the place. There is a ton of talented people that want to do stuff, they just don't know how. And this video is one of the steps for helping you guys to know how can you do more stuff, how can you be more effective at doing stuff. Then the next important thing is growth control. If you're a software engineer or you're HR specialist or you're anywhere else in the business, if you work twice as much, the business won't pay you twice as much salary. They will tell you, thank you, that's amazing work, but you're not getting twice returns on your invested time. In sales, it's not like that. If you know what you're doing right and you just focus and double down on the right activities, this meaning that you're doubling down on your prospects, you're getting double down more clients, you close double down more deals, and at the end you make double of the commission, right? That's why sales are good. And they immediately show you if you're good at what you're doing or you're not good at what you're doing. Your salary, your clients, they will tell you. This is the very good environment for getting feedback and understanding what areas you need to improve, then improving them, going again to the market, going again to the trenches, trying to sell more with a new approach, and you improve or you don't improve. If you don't improve, you burn out and you leave the industry and you think that is the worst industry this is the worst industry in the world. But if you do it in the right way, you're super happy. Networking. Sales is, if you're good at networking, if you're essentially a pro at networking, then sales is not a problem for you. And whenever you go, people gonna like you, people gonna be in touch with you, and sales is giving you a lot of opportunities for making new connections. So whenever you are on a conference or you're with a client, you're getting all the opportunities, you're having opportunities to keep touch with all these people, with all your customers, with all the partners, and then building up the network, then moving to another company, and your network list is just getting bigger. And the bigger your network is, the more useful you are typically to the company, because if you already know all the key players in the market and you don't need to waste time on getting in touch with them and forming contact and building relationship, then you're an amazing asset to a company. You're an amazing asset for yourself. Networking is a key, and sales gives you every opportunity to build it. A big network of people that you want to get in touch with that can help you in the future, or you can help them in the future. Then the next thing is cons. And let's dive deeper into them. So the biggest problem with the Web3 is because it's very new. Majority of companies, 95%, are startups. They're experiments. What this means is that majority of these companies, they don't have product market fit. And when companies don't have product market fit, you are making it harder for yourself to sell them, because they have not proven that their service or product or whatever it is needed on the market. So you, as a salesperson, you need to go, you're kind of having the upward battle, because one, you need to prove that your thing is doing the thing, and then you need to sell. Then you need to actually do the work. In comparison, if you go to a well-established corporation like LinkedIn or I don't know, Apple or anything else, or Google, everybody knows that their stuff works. So they don't need to persuade anyone that their stuff works and that it can bring results. They immediately trust you. And then what you need to do is just focus on actual selling. In Web3, you're kind of having two things. Yeah, you need to first establish yourself as a leader, establish the trust, which makes it way harder for you to sell. And then second, try to sell them. Yeah, so if you're going here, don't expect that it's going to be easy. It's going to be harder than on other positions. But the plus here is that the market is less saturated right now, especially in the bear market. So if you have a good product or good service, or you have good marketing to talk about that, you probably won't have any problems with getting leads, everything that goes about your sales. If you can close them, you're an amazing salesperson. That's it. Another minus is performance-based, and this is what kicks a lot of people out of this industry, because if you're not hitting your numbers, your quota, your goals that the management and the business is putting for you, then this is the problem, because everything that you do in sales must have a result. If you're focusing on stuff that doesn't bring results, you are not an asset to the company. You're essentially taking away resources and you're wasting them, and nobody likes to spend time with people that are wasting resources. That's why everything that you do in sales is going to have quota, and what this brings to you is getting the pressure for closing the deal, pressure for closing the month, pressure for closing specific numbers, which brings a lot of stress, especially in the beginning when you're amateur and you don't know what the hell you're doing. When you're still in this learning curve where you're acquiring experience from the market, where you're acquiring experience from the team, when you're still learning how to do stuff, this can be very stressful, and this crushes people, and that's why majority of people leave sales, and that's why the average retention for a sales rep in the industry is around 1 year. So if you are under 1 year, expect a lot of shit going your way, expect a lot of stuff and stress, but after a certain breaking point, you would feel that, okay, you have gone through the hardest thing, through the rejection, through the stress, through the quota, through everything. And then it all just comes down to you doing your job right and getting to the speed, getting to the pace as fast as you can. Because if you are not good at your job, this means that you have inconsistent income. Typically in sales, how this works, you have a base salary and then you have a percentage on top of that salary from every sale, kind of like your, if you hit your quota, it's called on-time earnings, and we're gonna cover that in the second video. But if you don't do this, if you don't know how to sell, if you miss your numbers, this means that you make less money, and the correlation here is very simple. If you're good, you make more money. If you're bad, you make less money, and then the market just sorts you out away. This way that there is circulation of sales rep in the industry. People come in, a lot of people come in because they are lured by money and how easy it is to entry. Then they have all of these barriers, then they have all this stress, then they have all this quota, and majority of them just leaves, not spending enough time here to learn, to invest in themselves, and to finally see some results from what they have been working for. This is the big problem, but if you're here, then you probably don't want to be in that situation. You want to be in the place where you're making the money, when you're are successful in the career, and essentially when you're winning the game. And the only way to win the game is one, to know how to do it and then to do it. So if you want to do it, if you want to understand, if you want to tie your life, if you want to start a career in Web3 sales, and it's the career path in sales is really short. Like you can be good in 2-3 years, and then you can just scale up to the management in sales if you want. So it's around 5-7 years, and the salaries that you saw in the beginning, they are not for the 5-7 years. They are like 2, 3, 4 years for people that know how to sell. So if you want to train, what you can do, one, if you're new to Web3 sales, you need to Google sales salaries in your country or in your region where you're right now to understand what is the average and compare it to developed countries. If you're from developed countries, okay, then you need to compare it to entry-level positions. See how much is the difference between what average sales reps are making and entry-level positions. So Google for SDR salaries, sales development representative salaries. Then decide for yourself, would your life change in a better way if you move to this space? Yes or no? And then, do you feel capable of resisting the pressure that I mentioned in the cons? And write a comment yes or no, because this is going to be your obligation. If you're yes, if you feel that you want to tie your life, if you want to start having control over your life and over your results, put a yes in the comment and then let everybody know that you are here, that you are on the track, because this is the most important. If you can do this, then how can you resist the pressure? And then if you're already with the Web3 sales experience, then you can go to any recruiting website, any that hires for Web3 sales jobs, then find a position that is a next step for you in the career. So if you're in an SDR, go for an AE. If you're an AE, go for a sales management or for AEs that sell to higher profile companies, to enterprises, for example. Write down qualifications that you're still missing to get there, get motivated for that, and then share those qualifications also down below in the comment. So I can plan this course down the line to help you, because we are starting from amateurs and then we're going to mastery, which means there's going to be the beginner level, intermediate level, and then the advanced level. So further down the line, you can also learn a lot from this course. Okay, it was a pleasure to have you with me in the sales gym. Now it's your time to go home and hit the training. See you in the next video. Bye bye.